No, I'm fine.
So, this is DK and Shade from TacoYaki Anime.
Yo.
And welcome to Monthly Ketchup number 61.
We gonna do something special for 69? I feel like we should. I don't know why you just said 61 and me like, oh, 8 more episodes. We're at 69. We really should do something special for that, shouldn't we?
I was trying to think what month would that be on? What, November?
That's gonna be like. No, we only do like what 4 of these a year?
No, we do 12 once a month. So
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
8 months.
that's right because we do the okay. Yeah. What am I thinking? I was thinking seasons. God, my captivities, my brain's just bleh at this point. Um, yeah, so that would be in 8 months, which would be November. You're right.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving, 69. Season of giving, apparently. I don't know. Or that. I just say that. Alright, anyways.
So, yeah. We have five shows total to talk about today.
Indeed.
The season has been kind of, I don't know. There's so many things going on at the same time that this season's kind of been like in the background.
Well, I blame Funimation. Seriously, blame Funimation. Punch it, just.
So yeah. I guess speaking of Funimation, if anybody's been in the Discord, it's been
Funimation can just go suck it as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to petition them to fund all my money at this point.
So
I haven't been able to watch anything.
So it's mostly the customer service part.
You know, I've had a problem with them since like the get-go, honestly. Let's just be honest about it. I've had a problem with them from the get-go. Their website is just crap. It just be blunt about it. You know, Crunchyroll is so intuitive with, I just want to make a list, get my favorites on there, queue it up, throw it on there, and just hit one button and all my list of animes come out, and I can hit one button and all the current animes come out, you know, and I see them and I know what's going on. I feel like you have to jump through hoops in frickin' Funimation's world in order to get anything going.
Are the show pages tied to like the store and all that other kind of stuff? I haven't used that site in so long.
You know what? It's been about now 2 months since I've been able to log in from them, so I couldn't necessarily tell you. I just know it was highly frustrating when I was trying to get. Like, I even knew what specific animes Funimation had that I'd wanted to watch for this season, and I still couldn't get. Like, sometimes they wouldn't pop up. Like, you type in the first name of whatever anime in Crunchyroll, and they're like, oh, here you go. And I'm like, cool. I type in the like half the title for freaking Funimation, and they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, what do you think I mean? What I mean? How many? Do you want me to type the whole thing in? What the hell?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. We want to know exactly what it is that you're talking about. I'm like, fine. And I'm like, all right. And then they're like, well, here it is. And I'm like, click on it, and it starts playing the episode. And I'm like, no. Where's like just like a page drop that I can just be like, add to watch list or shit like that? They're like, no. You have to go into the episodes and then say you want to add it to your watch list. And I'm like, that seems stupid. Why? I don't want to watch it right now. I just wanted to create the list so I could watch later. All right, sure. You know, and then I tried to go like I thought I added it to my list, which again, I'm gonna bear with Crunchyroll. You go to Crunchyroll, you say add to watch list, it tells you add to watch list. Then you go to your queue, and all the animes you add to watch list right there. Super easy, super simple. I figured how could they fuck that up? I go to it, and I'm like, all right. After I clicked on the freaking episode, and the episode started playing, I'm like, all right, add to watch list. All right, back out. All right, go back in. Go to my list. Where the hell is it? Like, what happened? Why did it not click over? Son of, I go back in, click it again. Nope, still didn't do it. I'm like, son of a bitch. How many times am I gonna have to research this goddamn anime just to put it on my goddamn watch list? Pissing me off. So yeah, their site is annoying. It's not very intuitive. I feel like, and maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb. I don't know. But yeah.
So
and then their sucks. Go ahead.
So as you were going on the website, I'm like, let me see if I have any trouble trying to find the show. And I went to shows, and I clicked shows, and then I searched Bofuri, which is one of the shows we're going to talk about. And I'm like, enter. And there's no results for Bofuri. I'm like, what are you talking about? Then I looked, and it was like, what did it say? It was that first column. Shows and shop. And I'm like, it's a show that you had. Oh, now it's here.
See?
So what I did is I searched for it, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, well, I watched the show on your site through the Roku app, but yeah, I don't know. So then I clicked on videos, and they're like, oh, you want to watch episode 11? I'm like, I just wanted to see the show. So just like you were saying, it just throws you right into what's absolutely currently happening instead of this brand new show that here's the synopsis. Do you want to watch it? I don't want to just throw an episode at you. So I totally understand that. Yeah. And then after I'm like, okay, cool. It shows episode 11. And then I go back to it so I can talk about it again. I click shows and shop. And they're like, yeah, we got this show called Bofuri. It's right here. And I'm like, you just said you didn't know what I was talking about. And now it's here. So yeah, there is some weird funniness about the show, about the website. I only use the website for what is the back to school sale or like the ending of the year sales, like Black Friday, Christmas, and all that kind of stuff, because they're like, hey, come buy our stuff. We got massive discounts. And I'm like, okay. And I go over there and I'm like, ooh, buy. And I've had my horror story in the past that I've explained many, many times about me ordering something and it didn't go through and it took me 6 months to resolve it. But it's resolved, so I'm not even going to bring that back up. So I only go to the website to, one, activate my membership again so I can watch the shows to talk about on the podcast, and then also to turn it off whenever it's in between seasons because I only watch it for the podcast right now. The the last time I actually used the website to watch shows was a long, like maybe 2-3 years ago, and I was trying to catch up on Dragon Ball Z right before Super happened. So I would stay after work for like an hour and like watch a couple episodes, and I would come into work early for like an hour and like watch a couple episodes. And that's the only way I was able to watch like 291 episodes in like a month. But I didn't have any trouble back then, and that was like a couple years ago.
So I watched a recent mess up.
Yeah, so recently I watch everything now through the Roku app, and I'm like, I want to watch it in Japanese with subtitles. And it's like, okay, here you go. I'm like, cool. So I watch it, and then I go to the next episode. I'm like, okay, skip. And then they're like, hello, this is the anime you were watching. And I'm like, no! Why did you switch to English? You're not supposed to switch. It's auto. I put next. Why? Okay. So then I go to the playback options, and I'm like, it's set to Japanese. What? That's weird. Let me click Japanese, and it doesn't. It's like, you're already in Japanese. What are you doing? And I'm like, I'm only here because you keep changing it. So behave. I go. And I'm like, let me just turn it off and turn it back on. I switched it to English, and it pulls me out of that menu and starts playing it in English. I'm like, that's not what I want you to do. So I go back to the play options and I'm like, Japanese. And then it finally goes. I'm like, okay, cool. And then it plays a couple episodes fine. And then I come back the next day and I'm like, okay, cool. Let me play some more. And I click. Now, there's a small little bug. I don't know why it does this, but if I click next, all the UI, the seek bar and all the buttons up at the top and the description and rating and all that kind of stuff, it stays there. I'm like, go away! I'm done with you. We're on the next episode. Move. Because like at the bottom, yeah, it's like the bottom of the screen is darkened, so it like it's like a gradient that shades over the subtitle, so I can't read it. And I'm like, move. so I'm like, okay, well, let me restart. I hit restart, then it restarts the episode, and then it disappears after like 2 seconds, like it's supposed to. So even on the Roku app, there's like tiny little annoyances that happen, but.
And let me ask, because you use Crunchyroll on the same Roku app, right?
Yes.
Do you ever have that problem with Crunchyroll?
I've never ranted about Crunchyroll because their service is great, but
I'm just saying, it's like, you know, if we're comparing the two, it's like, come on, how can one company mess it up so much when another company never has a problem? It's like, where's the disconnect? Y'all are doing the same goddamn thing. You know, and then their customer service is just the worst. It is just the absolute worst. I mean, like you even said, it took 6 months for you to get done with figuring out some issue that you had with them.
Yeah, and it's like, I think they were annoyed with me, like, bugging. I sent like probably 36 emails over the course.
I'm about to have to do the same. I'm about to have to do the same.
Because and I was like, you know what? Here's all the tracking ID to all the emails that I've sent. There's this one where I asked about this and nothing happened, and this one where I asked about this and they didn't fix it, and then this one, and they said that this was being up this and this and that, and there was like this long paragraph of all the emails that I sent before, and then under that was like, would you please fix this? And then it finally got fixed. So I know, right?
It's like they don't care. It's like they don't care.
Well, I don't know why my issue was so hard to fix, and I have no idea why I'm having so much trouble now. But I'm like, I know all tech support places right now are having trouble because of the virus situation. So I know that's just adding on top of it.
Granted, but I mean, I was having this issue before that even occurred.
Yeah, and I had my issue like years before this was even a thing too. So It's like having this whole situation on top of already struggling.
I'm sure it's making it worse, but you know, when you have people that you know are going to be home, and if you can perform this job from home and log in and do whatever you need to do from home, I mean, I don't necessarily see as big of like this is really being a hassle for you kind of thing. The amount of phone calls you might be getting might be increased. Don't get me wrong. You might be getting just just a wash with people because now they're trying to use your site or your app like
because everybody's at home
exponentially because everyone's at home. But that still doesn't mean that if you were a tech like for internet or for some sort of service or something like that, I could get where it's going to be harder for you to perform your job because you have to be there in person. But you don't have to be in person for this. So it's like, I don't know. 6 of one, half dozen another, I guess. But still, the fact that I freaking go to log in like I normally did, and I had a schedule. I actually had a schedule where I was like, new episodes coming out. I had reminders set on my calendar, so I knew what days I needed to go log on to their freaking website in order to watch whatever it is that I wanted to watch. And I go log in, and it just goes, and mind you, it's not like I didn't, like, I saved my password on because I'm like, it's just a freaking like I know important things. I don't save my passwords for, but like I'm like, it's just Funimation. It's just a freaking streaming site for anime. I'll save my password to Google. I don't care. It's not that big of a deal for me, or whatever. So I saved my password. So I go to log in, pops up my normal password. I hit log in. I turn away to go do something else. I look back and I'm like, says that's an invalid password. What? So I go and I try to I refresh, try it again. Nope. And I'm like, what, did it mess up my password? So I go and start going through all my passwords that I typically use, or if it's a freaking list. And I'm like, nope, 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 nope. And I'm like, all right. So then I'm like, did I use a different? Because I have two different emails. Did I use a different email? Nope, 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 nope. And through all my passwords twice, basically. And then I go and log into their website or go to their, it's like, all right, create a new account. So I go to create it. Like, I say, like, what is it, your specifics on your password? Did I have to do something different? And I look at it and I go, oh, I did have to do something different. Because you have specifics that most other people don't have to their freaking webs. All right, shoot. All right, let me think about this. What variation would I have done, or how would I have done this? And I'm like, nope, nope, nope. And finally, I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'll freaking contact or I'll freaking hit I forgot my password. So I was like, forgot my password, and sending me an email. And they go, all right, pass or sent. And I'm like, cool. And then they go, please wait, 1 to 2 hours for potential, to make sure it's there. And then it may go to your junk folder. So please check those or whatever. And I'm like, all right. I come back the next day, check all my folders, nothing. And I'm like, son of a bitch. So that's when I finally contacted their customer service, and I'm like, all right, look, what's wrong? Why can't I log in? This is a problem. And they're like, well, let me see. Can you forward me your information? Just like, what your email you're using, and then I'll try to look up your account or whatever. And I'm like, sure. So I forward the email. Now, this is the email that I had put into their forgot my password thing, and it said it sent me an email for, right? I sent them that same email thinking, well, if it said it sent me a password, must be the correct one or whatever. They come back going, we're sorry, we can't find any email connected or an account with that email address. And I went, really? Let me go ahead and screenshot my bill that I got from you for this freaking service and send that to you. Because they're like, can you give us more information? And I'm like, sure. So I do that. I send it over. And they're like, oh, it wasn't that email address. It's the other email address you use. And I'm sitting there going, are you serious? Why did it say that it sent a freaking password reset to the other email address if it didn't have that email address on file? Why did that happen? Why was that a thing? All right, cool. They're like, so make sure to wait for, 1 to 2 hours, the usual BS. And I'm like, fine. I'll wait the next day. Come back the next day, no email. And I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? So I responded back to them, hey, guess what? Didn't get it. Am I sending it or maybe sending it to my other email that I was using? I don't know. And I haven't heard back from them since. And I'm like, this is, yeah. This sucks. So, yeah. I hate their site. I hate their customer service. It's whatever they're doing. I feel Crunchyroll, who I've been with for God since we started this. I've continued to be with them since we started this. Does way better of a job. Like I barely used Funimation just because this one season Funimation had the freaking animes that I wanted to watch. Crunchyroll only had like 3 that I was watching. Funimation had like another 4. And then they're like, yeah, no, you can't do that. I'm like, grr. So, anyways, yeah, they suck. Bottom line, they suck.
So, hopefully, the everything gets recovered.
I don't know.
Hopefully, it's not like some kind of hacking thing. Because I remember when Disney Plus came out, a lot of people's accounts got taken.
Well, you know, and it's like I don't. It'd be one thing if I could just cancel that account. Like at this point, I'm just gonna cancel the freaking account. It's like I may do another one and give them one more shot, but you know, with the abysmal deal that's been going on with them and how bad their freaking site has been, this just goes back to the whole thing of just like I was so happy when Funimation and Crunchyroll were the only two main streaming sites to have anime. And Funimation did the English, and Crunchyroll did the freaking Japanese, and I was loving it. Freaking Cloud9 had all the anime I wanted to watch. And now everything's horrible.
So I know that Hulu has some shows. Do you think the Funimation shows are on there? I could check.
No, because I checked any chart or any list or any chart that we usually use.
And they didn't have the.
They said it was only for Funimation.
Okay.
So, like, I didn't go on to Hulu to double check that, but they've been pretty at least decent about their information when it comes to stuff like that about where you could find it. So, I didn't necessarily think they were going to steer me wrong, but I guess maybe they could have.
Okay.
I've lost all trust and hope in everything. It's awful. Everyone lies. It's all lies. So, anyways.
Well, the first show we're going to be talking about is Boku no Hero Academia Season 4.
Yes. That was a hell of a season.
Oh man!
I'm gonna just over encompass all of that and say that was a hell of a season.
Oh man!
I mean, when just like with Demon Slayer, when there's an episode that can all of a sudden start trending on social medias and stuff like that, and you just see people just blow up with it, I'm just like, all right, yeah. We're hitting that high note here on this one, I'm sure. And I'm like, that's awesome. And just the fight with Deku and Overhaul was just, man. I probably rewatched that fight at least a couple different times, just because I'm like, oh my god, that was so cool.
Yeah.
Even seeing other people talk about it, they were making comparisons to Deku and like One Punch Man.
Oh. Yeah.
Consecutive normal punches is just like yeah. And I think this also goes back to the whole idea of like they made like I've had discussions with this with people before, but like villains, you can have a villain in your whatever media that is that you're doing, whether it be games, animes, movies, TV shows, or whatever. But in order to really drive the story home, in order to really have people rooting for the good guy and wanting everything to go right, you have to have a good villain. You have to have somebody that everyone just absolutely hates. And I think they did that with Overhaul.
Yeah.
I think they did that, and they did that well. People, I hated Overhaul. I was like, now that doesn't necessarily mean that what happened to him in the end, I was like, I'm not going to shed a tear for him, but that's pretty rough as far as that goes.
Yeah, you're like, oh, damn. Maybe you shouldn't have been an ass.
Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't have been as big an asshole as you were, because, yeah, about that. But it was just, you know, everything that he did, his high as mighty attitude, his I'm going to sacrifice this little girl and essentially torture her and I'm okay with that kind of personality that he had, and his casualness of with life, yet never seeming to necessarily care and just being like, it's for the greater good, for it's propelling my cause, so I don't care, you know. Even the person he called father, who he thought of as a father figure, putting him into a coma, I'm like, dude, talk about being just evil. I mean, damn. But see, those are the villains that are like the best, because like they're the ones who think they're doing no wrong. They see no wrong in what they're doing. They
Yeah.
see their cause as being just. And because they see their cause as being just, they justify everything that they do.
Yeah, and I think it's really good that the the way the story was told, you can kind of see where he's going, like where he gets his
That
motives in
mentality.
some kind of weird, twisted way, where you're
Mhm.
like, I see how you're getting from point A to B, but no, like,
Yeah.
no, there's
You,
better
you
ways to do that.
got from point A to B, but you kind of like you did some weird maneuvers between the two that no, mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. And I think that is a hallmark of good storytelling, good characterization, and just overall encompassing the whole, because Deku, as far as it goes, we want Deku to be the ultimate hero. We want Deku because we, from the very beginning, were like, he's gonna be the one. He's gonna be the top. He's gonna do things, And when this whole thing with All Might occurred, and as he's been deteriorating and Deku's been getting stronger, that's just what everyone's been. And I'm sure everyone in the back of their minds, like, Deku's gonna be the new number one. Deku's gonna top the charts, and he's gonna be the next big thing as soon as he graduates, as soon as he's able to take on the role of a hero full time. This is what's gonna happen, kind of thing. And to have a hero that embodies so much negativity and hatred to go up against him, it was like a natural pairing almost. You're just like, oh shoot, that could go all out. And then when you see that he can, you're like, oh yes! Wipe the floor with him! Beat him into submission! And even some, like, yeah, I'd watch some reactors on that too, and they were like, some of them would be like, damn, did he just kill him? But when I see so many people before that who that thought never even crossed their mind, because that last punch, that was some major stuff right there.
Yeah.
Like, that could have killed somebody of how, much he was going at it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And especially considering he was using 100%, and he doesn't normally do that. He doesn't normally use
Yeah.
100%. So it's like if he's constantly using 100%, he doesn't realize, and that kind of goes along with what All Might said later on when he was doing more training. He's like, he almost never uses 100%, at
Yeah.
least not all the time, you know. So the fact that he was and he did that last punch, I mean, there were a few reactors I watched on that were like, oh, did he kill him? But for the most part, that never crossed anybody's mind. And why? Because they were just like rooting and hollering for it. They were
Yeah.
happy he had got what he had gotten. You're like, yeah, punch him, just lay into him. That was so satisfying. So I mean, when you have that sort of dynamic happen, is just absolutely amazing. And you know, even going so far as to say, oh shoot, what was the girl's name? What was the little girl's name? Can't remember. Anyways, the little girl, like, oh my goodness, with how it shows even further with how bad off she was and how much you saw of that, and then that there was a whole episode devoted to essentially making her smile, and it
Yes.
was just absolutely amazing, and I had
Oh my
no
God.
qualms with it
Oh my
whatsoever.
God.
I'm like,
Like,
when you have something to that extent, God, you're on something good. I mean, you are just on something good, is what I feel.
man. So after all this hardship through the fights and the final victories that were had and all the trouble that everybody went through, like stepping back, like you could see that festival episode as being like a filler because it's not directly tied to the story. It's just kind of like maintenance on some of the characters. But I needed that. I needed that concert too. Like I was just worn out from everything that was going on.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like,
for sure.
And like before I even saw her like reactions to everything and like her change and like how everything affected her, like as soon as the music hit and as soon as everybody just started
laughing and smiling and
then just excelling at like something completely different, like freaking who knew that some of these people had musical talent, like and like even like them practicing the dancing and all that kind of stuff, like you can still see like during the concert they're still like amateurs, they're not like professional dancers or anything, but just how everybody's just putting their all in, like oh my god,
it warms your heart.
Oh my god, it's like 20 seconds in I was just tearing up. I was like, oh my god, I need this. Like this is amazing. It's like not only is all this crazy stuff happening in the show, but then it's like all this crazy stuff happening in the world, and it's like the whole launch into business and all. I was like, I really needed this concert. So I say thank everybody who worked on that episode. It was amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
and then just at the end, just to see the smile on her face.
Yeah.
I'm just like, and the shadow of Overhaul being lifted from her.
Yes.
I was just like, oh god, that warms your heart right there. That just.
Yeah.
And then the last episode, the fact that she's now in the school.
Yes.
And I'm like,
yes.
Hey! She's part of school now. Woo!
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, this show can just go on for so long, and I don't feel like I'll ever necessarily get tired of it.
Oh no, and it's paced perfectly.
Yeah.
It's like
this show
two
can go
seasons, on 2 seasons, off 2 seasons, on 2 seasons. Just keep that pace forever.
The only thing that I can say, and this is kind of on topic, off topic kind of thing, is that I know I overheard and saw some things about how the creator of the manga is going to stop. And it's because, not necessarily because she wants to stop, but because of the negativity she gets from people about the show. And it's stupid. It is utterly stupid. Like the fact that one of the characters, because they have those in betweens screens where they give like the biostats of whatever person or they say like their height, their weight, their birthday. One of the people had a birthday that was the same as Hitler's. I don't remember which one, but somebody freaked out, and like shit like that is what she's having to deal with, and people causing BS over it, and it's so aggravating that she can't handle the stress anymore, and she's saying she's just gonna wrap up the manga, and it's so annoying. So I mean, at most I think we have, Spaz would know a little bit more about it, but I think at most we have like 3 or 4 more seasons, I think, going forward.
Okay.
Which is still a decent amount, but it's just aggravating that it could have gone on for even longer if it wasn't for just the absolute idiocy of people.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Oh, it is. It is. It's completely unfortunate. And I I don't agree with it. It's one of those situations where I'm like, you know what? If it bothers you so much, don't watch it. If you have
Yeah.
a problem with it so much, don't support it. If you
There
think
are
that because somebody's birthday happens to fall on the same as Hitler's, that makes the creator of this a bad person because they didn't notice that when they were creating it, why are we? It's like just go away. Let everyone else who's enjoying it enjoy it, and don't try to hassle the creator because of that.
there are thousands and thousands of other shows you can watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So either way, this season, A plus plus, absolutely amazing, absolutely outstanding. Um, cannot just gush enough about this. The way that the people, the development of the story, the characters, you felt emotions for the little girl, you felt emotions for, oh shoot, the guy who can go through solid objects.
Oh, Millennium.
Yeah. You felt emotions for him when he lost his
Yes.
powers. You felt emotions for Sir when he died. Things like this were just it's amazing. And when I can see and not only do I feel myself, but when I see those emotions on other people who are watching this, it's touching people, and just like you were saying, the fact of like that concert, no matter what is, yeah, it was relevant to the actual story itself, absolutely, and the fact that it progressed what they were trying to do, which is to get the girl to smile and have an actual feel like she actually had a life and whatnot. But even then, it made you happier because it was something that you needed in your life. It's like when you have something that is that good and can draw upon those sorts of emotions and cause those sorts of reactions, you have something amazing. You have something really good. And it's going to stand the test of time. It's just, it's sad the way things happen sometimes. But either way, I'm absolutely loving and enjoying this and cannot get enough of it, honestly.
Yep. So if you haven't, uh, if you haven't started it yet, go watch it now.
So please, please, please. I mean, maybe this is just my own personal preference. I've seen people. I've watched some of the dubs as well, as well as the subs. They don't nail everyone as well as they could. They do a half decent job. I feel like better than some of them out there that I've seen for dubs, but I still don't think that they nail them as well as well as the dub or as well as the sub version. The original voices. There's something about the raw intensity of Deku's voice during that whole scene with Overhaul,
Mhm.
where he's literally screaming Overhaul's name, and you just feel the rawness and the anger in his voice, and it just matches the feeling that you have of just you're absolutely just wanting to pound his freaking face in because that's what you feel, and for a fact that's what Deku's wanting to do with the fact of what's going on. And then you listen to the regular one, and it's like half there. And you're just like, I mean, you tried. I see you tried. I get it, but it's just not the same. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like if you're gonna want a really good experience with it, watch it in the subs. So. Not to diss anyone for the freaking voice actors and dubs. I really don't. And a lot of times, as far as it goes, they did a much better job than some of the other ones I've seen out there. But it still just doesn't feel the same.
The next show we're going to talk about is Darwin's Game.
You actually finished this one?
Yes.
Ouch.
How far did you get?
I didn't even start this one.
Oh, okay.
I know what it's about. I know what it does and everything. I'm just like, it just wasn't one of those ones that I couldn't bring myself. Maybe it's flashbacks of King's Game or something, but
um,
because that anime messed me up, I'm gonna tell you that.
oh, because you finished King's Game, right?
I got halfway through,
Oh,
and it still messed me up.
okay.
I'm like, oh god,
uh,
this is like When They Cry levels of just messery.
yeah. So, for the last show, we didn't go over like the final thoughts questions because it's not over yet. So we're just doing like updates on our thoughts about the last season. For this one, would I recommend this show? Yes. Yes. Just like how we recommended it on our first impressions. Yes, 100%. Yes, it is way better than King's Game.
uh,
It is not like there's no silly high school nonsense. There is no gratuitous I can't remember how violent that other show was, but
King's Game?
yeah.
Oh, it was really violent.
Okay, yeah. This is much more toned down.
It was really violent, really bloody, and really dark.
Yeah. So this is much better in that sense. Who is this?
That's one of those that I feel like if you watch, have something funny and nice to watch afterwards, immediately afterwards. Like plan for that. Because it just brings you down.
Yeah. Yeah, the net the show is for people who are fans of like the battle royale genre. This is 100% following that formula, and yeah, it's a very good contender for it. Didn't meet my expectations. It went past my expectations. It it is like after the fact, it kind of followed the path that they normally follow. I just didn't see how it was gonna get there.
Mm-hmm.
And certain things happen to certain characters that I wasn't really expecting. So it's like it kept me on my toes the whole time.
Now, you say Battle Royale, that kind of the only one I remember watching Battle Royale-ish was what was it? One with the Zodiac animals?
Uh, Snap. No, that's not.
It's like they had a whole city in which to battle.
Yeah! I don't remember the name of that one.
But you know what I'm talking about. Did you ever watch that? Did you ever watch that one?
Yes. What was it? What did that dude always say? Everybody clap your hands.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Everybody clap your hands. It's like, oh god, shut up. Stop it. I'm not clapping my hands. I did it once. You don't get another one. I thought that one was okay. It wasn't necessarily like my cup of tea. How would you necessarily compare the two?
It was more based in science fiction, but I would say it's more toned down than that one. That one had a lot of supernatural stuff in it, and this was more. This doesn't have as many supernatural things. So I I think I definitely know you would if you latch onto the main character you will like this show because this character ends up having something. He has a change that all of your most of your favorite characters have a change, and I would say it's a bit more toned down than usually the ones that you bring up, but it is that type of change. So I feel like you would like him as a character. Okay. Who is my favorite character out of the series? I want to say the intelligence gatherer girl. She plays into that trope that she has, where it's like the not a bombastic character, just very, very toned down, very to the point, very serious. She gets emotional a little bit when things get like really, really bad, but most of the time, she's just a deadpan character. And yeah, it was actually pretty cool to see her like slowly open up and become a bit more of a vibrant character. Let's see, what is my favorite part? Without spoiling. There are some really there's a lot of cool parts in this show. I'm trying to think like what is something in this show, because there's a lot of parts where other shows of this same genre or other situations that this, like similar situations that this character falls into, it kind of plays out like other shows. So I'm trying to think of like a scenario where it's like unexpected or unique. And I still want to like call back to the one that we talked about at the beginning, like the resolution of the first battle. Like that, it's something that you always think about when somebody has a power like that, and you're like, if I had this power, would I have to worry about this? And they're like, yeah, you do. And it was funny the way that the first battle played out. So I would say, yeah, this is a very interesting show. Very good example of a battle royale show, and I recommend it.
Cool.
All right. The next show we're going to be talking about is Buffy. I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense.
Which one was this again? Oh, this one.
Did you
start
this
was one that was on Funimation. No, I didn't start this one, but I'd see little clips on it at YouTube, and it got me interested, and then I never could watch it because I could never get back on to frickin' Funimation. So, no.
You have a rope? Actually, no, you're going to be able to get it to your account. Crap.
Which I can't log in.
Yeah. Okay.
So I did want to watch this one, like eventually. Like at first, no, it wasn't one that was on my radar. But seeing some of the scenes that they were showing from it and seeing the characters, I'm like, well, this kind of looks kind of cool. This might be something worth interesting watching. Just because I was like, it's kind of up my alley. It's a fantasy kind of anime. It has some interesting characters designs, and I'm like, all right, I have nothing else watching right now because I can't watch freaking anything in the Funimation. And then the rage happened when I went to look it up and went, oh, it's on Funimation. Damn it. So,
this is a very, very good show, especially because it is fantasy, and it had my attention the entire time.
Yeah, fantasy's not in your wheelhouse yet.
Yeah.
If it's something you actually enjoy, that's saying something.
I really like this show. And I would say, who is the show for? It's for everybody. Like people who are interested in like the whole going into a VR game world and like having adventures there and then getting out and be like, oh, I got to do my homework and go to class. Did it meet my expectations? It far, far surpassed it because this girl, oh my God, Maple, just stop. Just stop what you're doing. she's such a unique character that the game devs are always talking about her.
Mm-hmm.
They're debating whether they should have to patch stuff in the game because of her. Um, all of the but many players are joining the game because of her. Just rumors that they hear about her that other people are spreading across the world. And yeah, even me, I'm like, I play some games, but I know you're not supposed to do that. So, yeah, like, it's one of the things where, like, what?
Why did you do that?
And it's kind of like with, what's his name's logic? You're like, okay, I see how you can get from point A to point B, but there's better ways to do that.
There are steps involved in that, my man. You can't just no.
So, like, yeah. So, I'm like, okay, sure. Who is my favorite character? My favorite character is Maple's friend, her classmate that basically basically said, "Hey, there's this really cool game that's coming out. I'm gonna play it, but I have to study for this big test that's coming up. So I know you just bought the game, and we were supposed to play tonight, but I can't play for like 4 days. So go ahead and just try it out, and I'll meet you in 4 days." And half the series passes. You're like, okay, cool. I can finally get into the game. And then she's like, what have you done?
Why did you do this?
So, yeah. Yeah, I like her best friend. It's really, really funny. And what is my favorite part? Every part where you're like, she can do that? Yeah. So I want to bring back this show again because I know this is a show that's in your wheelhouse, and I want to hear your thoughts on this because this is definitely a show that I really want to hear your input, and I want to go into more detail with too because yeah, it's
Well,
ridiculous.
if it ever comes to Crunchyroll, I will definitely look into it.
Yeah. Uh, highly recommend, and yeah, great show. It's kind of like a genre bending show. Well, I don't know. It's like it's on par with Konosuba, except they're playing within the rules. They're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. But
Gotcha.
But she, man.
She just decided to do her own thing. Oop. Do I not hear you anymore? Can you hear me? I don't hear you at all. What happened? Nope, it's me. What happened? Yeah? No, it says it's picking up. Speakers, microphone. Everything says it's good. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, that's not me.
Yeah. Trash is so good. Healthcare.
Oh Jesus!
You hear
Oh
that?
my God, that was horrible. I just hear boom. Like all the sound that didn't happen decided we're gonna happen all at the same time.
All right.
Okay. Yes, now I can hear you.
And we're back. The next show we're going to talk about is A Certain Scientific Railgun Tea.
Now, you never watched the last season, did you? Like a
I
wholly?
watched S of Railgun. So I was like, maybe I could watch T of Railgun too.
Okay.
Am I missing a lot?
How'd that work for you?
It
Nothing
seems
confusing?
like a side story.
Okay.
Is it intertwined?
See, I don't know. I can't. I watched the first three episodes for it,
Uh,
and to me, it seemed like a rehash of previous episodes. It seemed like a rehash of, at least for the first three episodes, it was a rehash of
Index
I
3.
want to say Index, yeah, just told from Railgun's perspective instead of the other good dude's perspective.
Okay. I saw
That's what I got.
the dude show up once.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it really did because I remember he had to go out onto the field while she was playing that one game of putting the ball into the basket on the pole or whatever because there was some sort of like bomb or something like that. It was crazy, but he was doing something and then he goes off and does his own thing and I don't think Railgun showed up. So I'm thinking like probably by the fourth or fifth episode something else changed and then you started seeing what Railgun was doing during that whole time. But I don't know.
okay.
It seemed like I think that's probably why I kind of started just losing interest in it because I just didn't. I'm like I've watched this. I know what happens.
Mhm.
You know,
It
like,
hasn't been long enough to where you can like go through it again.
there's no stakes in this because I know everyone comes out fine.
Mhm.
So, when you have a unknown as much as the whole universe of Index Railgun and all that, when you already know the basic background of the story itself, it just kind of loses its punch, I guess.
Okay.
That's what I felt at least. Excuse me.
Okay. Um. So I guess I don't know. It's like I haven't seen Index 3 yet.
So you felt like this was definitely like a side story.
Uh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what happened yet. So I don't. I can't say how far it sidetracks from it. I know it ends up following the sister, like going after things that are related to the sisters, and that there are um more than one group of people involved in everything that is happening, and her friends get wrapped up into everything.
Okay.
Like, man.
So in that sense, I really feel like probably what they were going for is they're like, hey, this was a major moment in Index and a major plot-driven device in Index, but there was more connected to this than what we were able to show. There was more going on, but we focused on the one main character, the dude, And in order to let you know what was going on, here's this whole side run. And they started it off in the same sort of, way as Index had gone. But like by the time you get to like probably the fourth, fifth, sixth episode, they're like, okay, now we've laid the groundwork, and you kind of saw some snippets of other people doing other things, and the reason why this connected to this. Now we get to go on this tangent, but it is related to the previous thing. That
now
seems to me to be
yeah. So now that you say that, that does seem like that's how it is, because right now there's only 9 episodes out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, they're wrapping up this arc real quick. So it's like, I think it's finally starting to branch off, and then it's going to be 12 episodes of something that's not fully connected, like Index 3 seems to be.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like, it seems to me like because again, when I was watching that first couple episodes, I'm like, well, this is cool and all, but this is along the same timeline as what I saw, at least in the beginning of Index. And I'm like, and he went off on someplace else later on. I'm like, how are they going to tie that into this? And they're like, they're not tying it into this. They're just saying the events following what they want to show you are just, they begin and are related to what we already knew what was happening previously. So it's just one of those things where I was just like, had I not watched Index, I might have enjoyed it a little bit more, because I wouldn't know necessarily what was going on or what was happening. But now that I have that background information, I'm like, can we get to the good? Like, where does it veer off? Where does the good stuff start happening? But I feel like Index is Index, Railgun, and all those. I just encompass them with a certain scientific, because it's always different after that. But so the certain scientific series is one where if you don't get all of them, there are certain parts and certain things that are going to happen later, even if it's only like minor, that you're not going to get or know about.
Yeah, it'll either just fly right past you, like, okay, I don't know why they went to that one building, but anyway, now they're here.
Why that character all of a sudden? Yeah, like why that character can all of a sudden do this, or where did they manifest this ability from, or how are they now in control of X, Y, and Z, or why are they a part of this organization? You're like, oh my God, he's been a bad guy the entire time, and you're like, if you'd watched this series, you'd know that he's a double agent the entire time, and he's not even working for them. But he only makes it seem like it, so that way every time you see him in the other series, you're like, oh, he's such a dick. Oh, he's such a... And you look at that one, you're like, oh, shit, no, he was good all the entire time. Yeah, it's... There's so much going on, and I love the fact that there is. Like, certain scientific series is amazing with lore and backstory, and just so many different characters and things moving at the same time. And I love the fact that in that sense, it's like Durarara, where it's like, this part of what was happening, but now we're going to show you this part and the reason why this person was on this scene. Because like they always tease like that one where he was fighting the Aztec person and he ended up dropping the building on them or whatever, and he makes the dude makes the comment about him going, something dealing with Misaka, and then you see off to the corner, you're like, oh, Misaka's there off to the side, but nothing ever happens. And then later on, they replay that same scene, but this time you saw why Misaka was there and what happened in between that, and why the building didn't actually crush him, because freaking Misaka, when she saw it going down, did a little coin flip thing and blew part of it away while it was trying to do what it was doing. But you never would have known that had you not seen, and you're like, well, where did this come from? Why was this important? Hey, that's why I was like, when you said you'd watch this one, I was quite surprised, because I know you haven't watched the other ones. Like, you're not current on everything. You've watched most of it, but you're not current on everything. So that's
So
why I'm like,
it's like I prefer Railgun over Index. So I'm like, can I watch it? Can I watch more Railgun and not be completely lost? Kinda. Okay, I'm gonna watch the whole thing.
you can be, but I feel like there's still like certain aha moments that you're gonna see that you're gonna be like, oh, okay, there's they go right by, like you said, they go over your head. But had you watched the other one, when that part came up, you're like, oh, this happened. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
I feel like that's been my path with both of these series in like the entire time. Because it's like I watched Railgun 1 and Railgun 2, and then I'm like, I guess I'll watch Index. Then I watch Index, and I'm like, ooh, oh, that's why. And then like
which is
then,
why I'm like, they have Index, they have Railgun, and then they
then
also have the
Accelerator.
Accelerator. Yeah. So I'm like, now I gotta watch Accelerator. I gotta finish Index 3. I gotta catch back up on Railgun. I'm like, shit. I don't know. Eventually, it gets to that daunting point where you're just like, do I have to? Do I want to?
I feel like the way I'm gonna watch these series is I'm always
Completely
gonna be current on Railgun, and then
out.
I'm gonna be a season behind on Index, and then I'm maybe 2 seasons behind on Accelerator.
When all of them are relevant in their own way.
I know, and I'm gonna be missing pieces of the story the whole time.
Because, I mean, even freaking Accelerator is relevant in his own way, too. Because he deals with that one clone of hers from Railgun specifically. So it's like, if he didn't rescue her or was always trying to keep her safe, then yeah, it's crazy. So.
Yeah. I get that. But yeah, so the season isn't over. There's still 14 more episodes to go. So maybe I'll catch up with Index and then like zip up the whole story, so I'll be completely current.
And then I could do that.
So yeah, I'll modify the questions. Did it meet my expectations? Yes, I love Railgun. Like man, oh my god. I really, really hated. It was like, who's my favorite character? I really, really hated the blonde chick at the beginning. Like, I was so mad.
Miss Pretentious, uppity, I'm better than thou attitude. Yeah. No, like I said, I watched the first couple episodes, so I know who you're talking about. I know what her little attitude is.
And then they're like, but this is what really happened, and I'm like, why did you tell it to me in that order?
Because that's what they do.
I was like, okay, fine. I still don't like her, but fine.
I have a don't like for her as much from before. It's not as bad. Yeah.
And I still don't know who's I kind of like the teleporter girl. Like she ranges from like awesome to annoying to like don't you dare hurt her to like are you okay to like please stop being annoying to like oh my gosh she's so cool. I'm like she's just all over the place, so I'm just gonna say she's my favorite. And I'll say, what is my favorite part? There's a part that I lost it. I was screaming at the show, and then it went on a little bit too long, and then I started screaming at the writers. Because so So, um, somebody was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And even though they're really strong, I was like, oh, I didn't know she was that strong. I just thought she was quite annoying, and I didn't like her throughout this entire series. But she's starting to grow on me. And then I found out how strong she was. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, I hate you less, but cool. And then somebody who I don't even know came in and started kicking her while she was on the ground. And and then it went on a little too long. And I'm like, cut the scene. You don't have to have him do that. And then oh man, I was very, very, very upset. So, yeah, like that scene riled me up a lot. But I would say as far as like the coolest scene that happened, I would say the balloon fight. Something happened and a little bit of a parent trap swapperoo happened, and some amazing dodging skills were displayed, and I'm like, whoa! And then it was over. But yeah, the show's really.
I did enjoy the what was it? I did enjoy the games for the sports competition that they did, and the fact that they could use their powers to a certain extent in them as well. And I'm like, that to me, we've seen so many animes where they have the sports day, school activities, all this, that, and the other thing. But the fact that you see ones where people are using powers, that just brought it into a whole different light and made it feel fresh and new again. Because and I feel like they did it on purpose. Like they played on the trope of like, oh, everyone knows what's going to happen here, but we're going to subvert your expectations and go, but because this person had teleportation powers, or because this person managed to make themselves invisible, or some weird little quirk and thing that they could do, whatever, they're like, now this happened instead. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's their bad. Oh. So, and then the fact that they even like subverted things like as far as the expectations of the characters themselves, because I remember one of them, what really caught me off guard was the fact that like one character was doing, it was one where they had to like tag each other with the balls or something like that, and one person was using, yeah. One person was using telekinesis, and the girl was all cocky and like, oh, I'm a better telekinesis than you are. I'll easily take care of all this and take you out. And she does, and you're like, well, that was expected. And all of a sudden, and you're like, wait, but he was out. And even she's like, wait, you were out. You can't do that. And then he was like, I wasn't the one doing the telekinesis. It was that girl over there who was hiding in the bushes that you never saw that was doing the telekinesis. And I'm like, you thought just because the mind things were going, the balls were going around him, that was his quirk, but it wasn't. Ha! So yeah, things like that. Yeah, I'm like, all right, yeah, you guys did a decent job on that.
And I think it's funny that you call it quirks, because My Hero Academia did the same thing, where their sports festival you can use powers. And for the most part, when there's some kind of event or something like that, or some people have powers and some people don't, they just ban all powers to try to make it an even playing field. And I do like how in My Hero Academia, they're like, yeah, use your powers. If you haven't trained enough to get your power up to a certain level, then you're just going to lose. And then with this one, there's like level 5 people, and there's level 1 people and level 0 people. And they're like, powers are, you can just use your powers. We'll put a limit on it. Like, we'll make it reasonable, but
There's still gonna be people with powers.
yeah.
Which makes sense, because it's like, maybe somebody's more athletic than somebody else. Maybe someone's can use their brains in a certain way better than someone else. It doesn't mean they should be banned because of it or negated from being able to do certain things. You can't restrict people to that far of an extent. You could just tell people, well, you can't like kill them or anything. You know what I mean? It's like, there's limits as far as that goes, but
they're like, don't be crazy.
Don't get crazy with it or anything. I mean, we know you can blow holes in the side of stadiums the size of like. Don't do that, but kind of get a little less than that.
Yeah,
so,
that always reminds me of that scene in Incredibles at the end of the first one where they what was it, the son with speed was like racing, and they're like, go 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 go, and he's like just starts blasting past everybody like, no, calm down, and then he like slows down, and the crew gets back up to him, and he's like, okay, go no, go, be second,
yeah. Just
like
make it close,
yeah.
Close.
Yeah, so it's like I like how
you saw the guy next to him like giving him a look like, what the hell are you even talking about? What? You're like, all right, yeah. But I mean, again, it's just one of those things. Like, and I think it makes it more interesting because in Boku no Hero Academia, characters there, I think because some of their mutations and quirks go so far out, like some of them don't even look human anymore. They're human-esque in certain ways. But you look at index and you look at certain scientific index and all that, and you're like, you can forget at times that they have powers.
Yeah.
Because you look at them and you're like, oh, that's just a high school girl. Oh, that's just, they're kids,
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. No, they can, melt rubber or cause friction. Like they can do all these weird psychosomatic things. And you're like, I forgot about that. All right, cool. Which is why I think in that regards, it had more of an impact. And also because when you were doing, or when it was the sports festival for My Hero Academia, they did like crazy things. Like they were fighting robots and they had freaking landmines that they were having to go across and everything like that. Whereas here, they're like, oh, it's the three-legged race. You're like, oh, okay. Or they're like, oh, it's the throw a ball into the, cup at, that's 10, 20 feet tall or some weird thing or whatever. But again, those are things normal people could do and be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's why I think it has much more of a greater impact, because it comes at you from a place where your expectations become subverted because you just don't think about it in that way. I mean, you always know that they all have powers. It's like, yeah, that's the whole point of the whole freaking series. They have powers. They have gifts. They're espers. They can do all sorts of crazy things.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't shove it in your face all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not saying that in My Hero Academia that's bad. That's the point of it. Because they're heroes. They're supposed to be doing that.
Every now and then I'll forget, like, that it's a superhero show. And I'm like, oh, okay, they're trying to investigate this crime or something. And, like, that police chief dog will show up. And, like, he's the only one that looks different compared to everybody else. Like, they're talking to the principal and all that kind of stuff. That he shows up and he's like, whoa. And I'm like, oh, God. Oh, I forgot.
You're normal. That's normal for you. All right. Yeah. Can you imagine living in that world then? Just like,
oh my God.
You'd freak out every time a hero came walking by that had like, tentacle arms or something. You'd be like, oh my God. Oh, wait, no, you're a good guy. Never mind. Sorry. Which is why I think, and it just as a thought, it just kind of came to me. I know in My Hero, that one scene with Red Riot, where he's fighting that one dude who had like the scalpel or whatever that could create blades out of his body, essentially, kind of thing. One person that I didn't think about at the time is like, there were people around but they really didn't like. They kind of stayed there. They didn't do anything.
Mhm.
And I'm like, they didn't comment about like, well, why don't they run? Get out of the way, move, do something. And it's like, well, two things. One, you don't know where you're safe to move.
Yeah.
So almost staying in place is actually kind of beneficial because at least if a hero is going to have to defend you, they're not having to worry about you moving all over the battlefield that he's trying to take out this villain with, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then two, you don't know who's good, who's bad at first. You're like, they all look freaking. They could both be villains, and maybe they're just fighting each other. Who the hell knows? You know? So it comes one of those like gray areas where you're just like, do I run towards this superpowered person or do I run towards this superpowered person? Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? What's going on? You know? So I get that, but it's a crazy world they live in. But yeah, with index or with certain scientific, I feel like there's just never it really rides the line between the superpower and then just normal everyday life, which I like. One, it's relatable, and two, it just that's as subversion expectations just comes. And you're just like, oh shit, yeah, no, oh crazy things happening, but it makes sense because that's what they can do. Okay, yeah,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm kind of curious, like where, like now that it's kind of like breaking into its own like little arc. I'm kind of curious where it's gonna go because there's a lot of answers that need to be, or a lot of questions that need to be answered, and they sprinkle it in. They're like, oh, maybe this is the source of this, and I'm like, yeah, go find that out. And they're like, oh, he got away. We got to chase him. And I'm like, okay, how long are y'all gonna take to y'all find him again? And they're like, the rest of the season. I'm like, okay, cool.
I mean, I guess. I mean, let me. That's fine.
It's like I can't find them faster, so it's not like I'm like, God, y'all are incompetent. I'm like, no.
I mean, you sound so. I mean, I see
So,
why you'd have problems with that.
yeah, but yeah, this is yeah, it's always a good adventure following this show, and
I mean, I would highly say, as far as anyone out there watching, if you enjoy things like if in the recent things about like Marvel and stuff like that, superheroes, people with powers, stuff like that. If you enjoy that, go watch this. Go watch the series. Like from the beginning. Don't get me wrong. From the beginning. If you have not
yeah,
seen
you're
this series, don't just jump into it because there's been progression, there's been character development. You'll just not understand anything and why anyone's doing anything. But it is, and especially if you need a series right now and this time right going on that you need to just sink your teeth into and be able to spend a bunch of time on, oh, go watch the series because what is it? 3 seasons of Index, now 3 seasons of Railgun, and 1 season of Accelerator. So that's like 7 seasons worth of an anime to watch.
yeah.
And this isn't like the 12 episode one either. They do like
I don't know. They're full blown 20 like double cores.
double cores on these things. So you gonna get your money's worth when you watch this thing. You gonna get invested. That's for damn sure.
Um, yeah, like especially if you're watching Index and all of a sudden the main guy has bite marks on his hand, and you're like, where'd those come from? You got it gets explained in the first few episodes. You gotta go watch
Yeah,
it.
because they keep the jokes in there from all the ones that they do.
Mm-hmm.
They don't always explain them because they're like, well, we've been through this enough times. You know the reasons why. You know she has a thing for biting the crap out of him every time he inadvertently does something quote unquote wrong that he had no control over at all. just because his luck is horrible. And you wouldn't even know why his luck is horrible. Why is his luck always so bad? Why is he just... Yeah, it's like, you got to watch these things.
Yeah, like if you watch Railgun and somebody tried to hand him something, he's like, "Oh wait, not this hand." You're like, "I'll grab with this hand." You're like, "Why?" You gotta watch Index.
Gotta watch Index, and you don't know why. Or if you try to jump into accelerators, and you're like, why is he such a badass, but everyone at least kind of, we're supposed to feel happy for him? Why? He seems like a horrible, horrible person.
Why does
You're
he keep
right. He is a
girl
horrible
around?
person. But at the same time, he actually is sort of a decent person as well. Yeah, so it's crazy. It's a crazy thing, man. It's a crazy thing.
All right. And the last show for today that we're going to talk about is Welcome to Demon School. Eat my coon. Is this going to be like a 80 episode show?
I don't know if it's going to be an 80 episode show, but I know they're going to have another season.
Okay.
They're at least going to have another season, maybe 2. So those of you who don't know, this is... So the basis of this story is there's a human boy, whose parents sell him to a demon lord. And you think, oh, he's going to eat his soul or whatever. No. The demon lord wanted a grandkid. And so he adopts him as a grandkid and basically has him live in the demon world as a quote-unquote demon, even though he's not. He's still human. And he kind of has to just figure out how to live his life, which at first was entirely like... In the very first, 10 episodes, you're like, oh god, when's it going to fuck up? It's going to fuck up somewhere. It's going to go bad. It's going to go bad. And then eventually, by, episode 20, 21, you're like... Even they had an episode that was kind of devoted to the fact where he all of a sudden wakes up. You see, a typical day run by, and he all of a sudden wakes up and goes, why am I adjusted to this? Why is this normal now? What the hell happened? And you're like, oh, yeah, it would be kind of weird, but you are kind of getting adjusted to this now, aren't you? And so characters themselves are good. Not amazing, but they are good. I will say they have a couple song and dance numbers in here that I skip. To be fair, I watched the first. They've had 3 or 4. Well, actually, the 5 almost. I think at this point. And I'm not even talking about we had a concert or something like that. No. One of the girl with the green hair in the background goes home, has a problem. Her mom tries to give her some advice, and it breaks into a song and dance routine with the whole family. And I'm just
the same family doing the same songs?
No, it's different people.
Okay.
Always. So I think they've done 2 of or maybe 3 of them, I think. Uh-huh. And I watched the first one, and then when the second one came up, I'm like, skip.
They done that.
That's not what I'm here for. Skip. So just keep that in mind. That is a thing that can happen. It's not necessarily bad. It's just I'm like, this is not. I guess maybe if this was supposed to be for little kids or something like that, is this the demographic we're going for on this or something? I don't know, but I feel like we're Blue's Cluesing it over here all of a sudden, or Dora the Explorer, and I'm like, no, that's not the way this. No, no. But it's fun. It's a fun little series. You get to see him making friends, figuring out all the demons who he's in class with, getting their helping them out. His grandfather gives him tools along the way to try to help him out. So he's not just haha, go to school and good luck coming back or whatever. No. He's actually he tries to give him some pointers or help him out every now and then. And in comparison, because they do bring it up every now and again, his parents were just absolute dickbags anyways. So it's actually that's the reason why he's like, I kind of like it here because he actually gets treated decently well. Other than the fact that he's worried every single day that they're gonna find out he's human and potentially kill him and eat him. It's okay, everything else is fine. He actually gets
You
treated
know what? Sorry to interrupt. They did sing in the first episode.
Yeah, they did the opening ceremony.
Yeah, okay. I can kind of see songs.
But they didn't necessarily do that. Okay, they've done that once actually twice after that. Forgot that. And by the third time, he's actually singing along with them, and that was where he's like, why am I used to this? Because he's like, he does it, and he's just sitting there going, why am I singing this song like it's just normal and everything's okay with it? We're talking about killing and eating humans. I'm a human. No, that don't work. But yeah, it's so the entire time, and I guess this is kind of the over-encompassing arc of the whole thing. And I'm not necessarily spoiling anything because it's like it beats you over the head with it practically every now and then. But there is no actual king demon. There's no like overlord of all kind of thing. His grandfather is like, you could think of him as kind of like a count or a duke kind of thing. He's pretty high up there in command, but he's not like the overlord of all.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no king as per se, and they keep hinting at the fact that he's probably going to be the king. They keep hinting at that fact. In fact, one of them, they had his outline, older looking as it was a little bit, sitting on the goddamn throne when they were doing like a segue to another thing or whatever, or talking about the fact that the Demon King was no longer there or whatever. And I'm like, I wonder who that is. The gold ring that the kid has glittered off their hand. And I'm like, can you beat us over the head with that a little bit more? Because I'm not sure we all got that hit. I don't know. But I will say the last episode that came out, and the reason why I say it's going to continue is the fact that he's been pretty like, he's got a happy-go-lucky personality. He still wants to help people. He still wants to, do what he can or whatever. And it wasn't until the very end of this last episode that he wakes up, or his grandfather comes to wake him up for breakfast and to send him off to school and whatever, and he changed. Like, all of a sudden, he looks a little bit older, his hair's grown out just a little bit more, and his personality almost did a 180. Whereas grandfather went in to wake him up, and he's basically looking at him going, why the hell are you getting me up so early in the morning? Whereas before, he's like, oh, it's time to get up, yay, it's time to go to school, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, are we now getting to that point now where he's about to become the Demon King? Is the world around him affecting him in some sort of way? I don't know. He's been there for a while now, so I don't know if living in the demon world as a human, a living, breathing human, is something that, like, eventually the environment just starts kind of taking you over or something. Or it could be the fact that he just, the ring he's been wearing or whatever, I think he used a good deal of the, like, it's supposed to store mana for, like, spells and stuff like that. And, like, 2 or 3 episodes prior to this, he used all of it up. So I don't know if now it's having an adverse effect on him or something. I don't know. There's big things involved with that, and I'm sure they're going to explain it at some point. But yeah, no, it's essentially, I mean, bottom line, essentially, it's a slice of life anime, what is set inside of a demon world where the biggest thing is a kid is in the demon world trying not to be eaten, essentially.
Okay.
So.
Cool. So this. Yeah. I'm about to say this season, but you've been watching this one for two seasons now?
It's had 2 cores, I think, in the season.
Yeah.
So it's been continuing.
Yeah.
I think this last episode was either 23 or 24. I can't remember.
Okay.
23 for some odd strange reason.
So it's like, this is your slice of life show, which is a genre that you don't normally watch.
No.
And then I got my fantasy show.
Yeah,
which is a genre.
the last episode was episode 23.
Okay.
And I think that's the end of the season, I want to say.
Okay.
Unless they intend on carrying it over into the next season. I don't know. But again, this has been going for 2 cours now, so I'm not sure if that's the intention or if they're going to hold off on it. Or, I don't know.
Yeah. We got two out of our wheelhouse shows that we're watching this season.
Yeah. But again, it's as I've said before, I don't necessarily like slice of life animes, but there has to be enough difference from normal everyday life that I can actually stand watching it. And the fact that you have the girl with the green hair is her ability is that she has a pocket that basically whatever she wants, she can tap it and pull it out. It's like an infinite pocket because it's like literally she was pulling out snacks, she was pulling out like something huge came out once. I don't even remember what it was, and they're just like, "How the hell did you fit that in there?" And she's like, "It's whatever I want." And I'm like, "Holy crap! All right." She just manifested essentially.
We're like,
Oh yeah,
Carter.
it was one of the things. Someone was making like in the very beginning. Someone was using her, and when when Aruma finally he made friends with her, and she knew what real friendship was like. The person tried to get snacks from her, and she ended up pulling out a whole vending machine and throwing it at him. I was like, all right, that works.
Like, the car broke down. Hold on a second.
Yeah. Well, and at one point, one of his friends was a pop star or whatever, and she got really sick and couldn't go on performance. So he goes up to him and the guy with the pink hair or whatever and goes, "Hey, can I get your guys' assistance?" And the girl's manager was like, "You can't go out there. You know, they're expecting cute personalities and da 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 da." And he's like, and all of a sudden the girl in the green got this evil look and goes, "I can fix that." And then all of a sudden pulls out these pop star dresses and wigs, and you're just like, oh boy. So, yeah.
Well, that is all the shows we have for today. We will be back in come on, calendar.
26th.
April 26th, 4 weeks from now. And we'll be diving into the new season.
Which I am super excited for.
Oh, I got a lot of Sword Art Online to watch.
Yes, you do. Was that? Oh no, I think that was what we said was going to happen this next season. I just want to double check.
Yeah, I checked that one. I was wondering if there was any other ones too, because I'm gonna try to be fully prepared. I'm gonna be mad.
So let's see here. There was.
So now I'm gonna be upset because I'm gonna be like, ooh, next episode, cliffhanger, and I'm like, ah.
Oh, there was that one with the girl with the book.
Oh yeah, the wooden anime.
Mm-hmm. There was that one. That's another one. Hey, your other one, second season to Dropkick, that was coming out too.
Oh
God. No Guns, No Life too. So I guess that's one I gotta catch up on.
Yep.
Sword Art. Oh, and the next season for Food Wars. And I think those are the highlights of what I can see.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So The Wooden Show, Bookworm, and Sword Art.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there anything? Oh yeah, Leftovers. Well, the only thing continuing is Plunder and Railgun.
Yeah, yeah. I was excited to see that. Because I saw it was like 9 episodes. I'm like, that's a weird number to end the series on. And like it had its own little arc. I'm like, man, they left it off for another season. It was like next episode. I'm like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the fourth and final Evangelion movie's coming out.
I have no idea where I'll be able to watch that, especially because
Yeah.
theaters are shut down.
Well, yeah, but it's not. That's not supposed to come out till June 27th.
Okay.
So you got a little while. You got a little while.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I got Bookworm and Sword Art. I'll be trying to fit those in. Make sure I watch all those before the beginning of the season, or before the next podcast. I got 4 weeks. Knock out a season a week or 2, or however many I gotta catch up on.
2 or 3 seasons in like a couple days. Man, you got this. I believe in you. You totally got this.
If I do like I did the last couple of days, that's exactly what happened. Well, actually, I don't know. No, Sword Art has some beefy seasons. They're like double cores.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that.
Like I said, you could potentially skip Gun Gale. The only thing you need, the only thing I would say about that is if you do skip Gun Gale, it just introduces a character that's been ongoing the entire time in her backstory. That's kind of the whole deal behind Gun Gale.
Yeah, so Gun Gale is in the spin-off Gun Gale, not season.
No, I was saying that was the whole point of the season with Gun Gale. Is an introduced character that has been ongoing since then. Actually, no, I think there was a little bit like that was half the season was with Gun Gale. The other half of the season then went on its own. It just included her with it, which then she's been going and ongoing. The spin-off of that, yeah, no, you could definitely skip that one. It's not.
Okay. Okay, so you were talking about the second season. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess the season, the actual second season with Gun Gale is important, but
yeah, Deep's actually watching Sword Art. He absolutely dislikes the first part and then loves the second part, and now he's on board for the rest of it. So if he ends up catching up, maybe we could do like a little side, like a little deep dive on the whole saga.
And so instead of ketchup, it'd be mustard.
Oh, after we end this, I have a idea on something that I asked you before, but I have a more fleshed out idea. Okay, so yeah, we'll be back on April 26th for the next episode 62. Initial thoughts on spring 2020. Yeah, that's been it for the show today. As always, this is DK and Shade for TacoYaki Anime. And as always, thank y'all for watching. Thanks for hanging out in chat. Thanks for supporting the channel in any way that you do. And we will see y'all next time.